What's up YouTube? It's Austin Ryan. Welcome back to another video. There's a couple things I want to talk about in this video when it comes to leg days in the gym, and I also want to talk about how to properly perform a pyramid when it comes to formatting any type of lift. Before we start any of these things though, I want to go over what you guys are seeing on the screen, and that is definitely make sure you're warming up properly. I've covered this in a couple videos before, such as stretching or just kind of getting to move around and making sure that you're warmed up. Make sure that you are definitely stretched and warmed up and your joints are ready to go when it comes to lifting. So today's pyramid is going to be over back squats. As you can see, I kind of just start with the empty bar. When I start with the empty bar, it just kind of gets my joints moving. It gets me ready to put on weight on my back, and it just gets my body used to that motion that it's going to be doing for the next hour or so. I only do a couple reps with the empty bar, get my body ready to do the next set, and then now we actually kind of start the pyramid. And like I said, make sure you're definitely doing rest in between these sets, which I will further talk about later on. So the first set we have is 135. In a pyramid, you want to do 8, 6, 4, 2. And then if you want to do 1, you can. If not, you don't have to. And then you can do back up, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So I actually start off my pyramid. The bar doesn't count as starting with the pyramid, but I start the pyramid with 8 reps of 135. You can see every single rep, I'm taking my time. I'm doing it the exact same way, every single rep. I take a deep breath in, I go down, and I go straight back up. It's very important that you don't forget about form even when you're at the lightest weight possible, because if you can keep the same form through it all, then you'll have no problem when it comes to performing reps and performing them cleanly. You'll see here I'm definitely taking my time in between sets. That's one thing that I definitely want to cover when it comes to leg days. I feel super sick when I don't take time in between sets on my leg days, so that's something that I think a lot of people need. Also, make sure your hips are really loose. I'm pretty sure my hips were really tight right here. Yeah, I could tell that my hips were really tight and that I needed to actually keep moving them around. So even if you're warmed up and your hips aren't loosened up or your joints aren't loosened up, make sure you're still doing this in between sets. Just because you're done with your warm up doesn't mean you still can't move around in between your 8 and your 6 or your 6 and your 4. But yeah, so time in between sets is something that I've really started to stress a lot. When it comes to any upper body movement, I can do maybe a minute in between sets, a minute and a half in between sets. But sometimes for legs, I definitely find myself taking sometimes 3 minutes in between sets. It's just whenever my body is ready to go for another set. As you can see, I'm still kind of just loosening up my body, making sure that everything's ready to move properly as I go up in this pyramid and I go heavier on my body. Definitely get your body prepared though when it comes to doing all these sets. So you can see now I am on the 6th. So like I said, 8, 6, 4, 2, maybe 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm now on the 6th. So what that means is this is 155 on the bar. Just kind of a light day since I'm still getting back into back squats. But I have 6 reps of 155 for this. As you can see, I'm doing the same exact thing I did for 135. Every rep is the exact same. I take my time. I reset in between each rep. I take a deep breath in. As soon as I take that breath in, I go back down and I go right back up. And I treat every single rep as if it's my first. I treat every single rep as if it's my best. And that's how you perform best when it comes to back squats or anything in general in the gym, honestly. But you can see, I'll switch my weight as soon as I ended up finishing my set. But then I'll actually end up taking some time off in between. So now we're on the 4. So 8, 6, 4, 2, possibly 1, like I said, 2, 4, 6, 8. We're now on 185. I do this for 4 reps, and it's just kind of getting my body, again, used to working up heavier weight. Same exact thing as the other ones. I take a deep breath in, I go down, and I push up the exact same way that I would for any other lighter weight or any other heavy weight. Just because the weight's heavier doesn't mean your form should change. Your form should stay the same every single time, every single rep, no matter what it is. You can see I'm definitely just making sure that I have some time in between here too. I still load up the weight, I still get ready for my next set. But that doesn't really matter. I'm just making sure that my body is good to go for the next set. So now we're on 2. Now I have 205 on the bar. We're at the top of the pyramid, so it's 205. Like I said, it's just the same exact thing. So you're going to see me move the exact same way I did for 135. So I take a deep breath in. When I get my deep breath in, I go all the way down, and I go back up as if it was just the same exact thing, as if it was just 135. That's one important thing when it comes to pyramids is, yes, you want to push yourself, but you want to make sure that you're doing it the exact same way every single time. As I said, I'm still getting into back squats, so I was actually pretty happy that I could just do that pretty well. But this is the second time I've back squatted this week, but it is also the second time I've back squatted in probably 6 or 7 months. So don't feel as if you need to have a lot of weight on the bar to get this motion, because sometimes even just the lightest weight will kill you. So I actually decided to go for a 1 rep here for 225, but you'll see the weight actually felt really good, and I actually ended up doing 3, which that's not really the smartest idea when you're working on a pyramid, but if the weight's feeling good, definitely push yourself. So I was like, wow, 225 moved pretty quick. Same exact thing, you know, deep breath in, go down, go back up. And I did it every single rep, every single time. It didn't matter what the weight was. You got to treat it the exact same way, because if you don't, then that's when you get hurt. But like I said, I ended up busting out 3 here. I took my time before the set, so that's why I really wanted to try and give this a shot. And I'm happy that I did, because, you know, it's just that accomplishment feeling. Now I'm definitely taking a little bit more time in between this next set I have. Pretty sure I just have it skip straight to the set. I do, but I have, you know, 225 all the way back down to 185. So instead of working down from 225 to 205 for 2, since I did 3 of 225, I decided I'm just going to do 4 of 185 and go from there. So I kind of skipped that second 2 rep on the pyramid on the way back down, but like I said, I ended up doing 185 for 4 here. It's the exact same thing every single time, like I said. So deep breath in, go down, make it smooth, take your time. That's one thing that I have said, is you definitely want to make sure you're taking your time no matter where you're at in your workout. If your body's not ready to do it, don't make it do it. So I actually squat with the high bar method. If you don't know the difference, you can either go check out my TikTok. I have a full explanation video on there, or just stay here and I'll explain it to you on this. The high bar is when the bar actually sits on your shoulders, and the low bar is when the bar actually sits on your rear delts at a little bit lower toward your back. Also, as you can see here, I got 155 for 6, so we're kind of making our way back towards that 8 rep range and kind of finishing out the pyramid. But yeah, so I do high bar, it feels better on my body. If I do low bar, I kind of feel like it's a little bit more stress on my back. That's just down to personal preference and what everybody else feels they should do. But for me, I personally prefer doing high bar because I'm just in a more comfortable position, and I feel like I have the bar on a better grip when it comes to just squatting. Also, as you can see, I just did my 155 for 6, and I'm just kind of chilling. You know, I'm going to give myself a minute so I can fully recover and bust out the end of the pyramid. I'll have 8 reps of 135 coming up, and then after that, we'll talk about a couple accessory lifts that you can do after your squats, or even if you want to do them before your squats for knee pain or anything else. So here's my last set. It's 8 reps of 135, and just like the beginning when we started, it's the same exact thing. The weight might feel a little bit lighter because we went heavier in between, but you just want to bust it out for as many reps as you have a set. Also, that doesn't mean with a pyramid that you have to do the 8, 6, 4, 2, you know, possibly 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. You could even do 12, 10, 8, 4, 2, you know. It's however you want to program it. So if you want to do, you know, a high jump of reps down to low jump of reps or whatever, then that's what you got to do. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. Some accessory movements that you can do here. This was my hamstring day, so both leg days of the week, I ended up back squatting. But after this exact workout, I ended up doing hamstring curls because it was my hamstring day, so I kind of needed to focus on my hamstrings a little bit more than I did my quads. But you'll see that it's just kind of a time under tension thing. You definitely just want to make sure that you're squeezing with every rep. Yes, some reps might be a little bit faster than others, but just make sure you're really getting that contraction, and that's all that matters with these. When it comes down to hamstring curls, you can either do the seated ones like I did, where you're buckled in and you just kind of have yourself set, or you can do the lying ones, which are kind of like where you're lying down on the machine. Another good exercise that I actually do these before I deadlift, before I squat, before I hack squat, anything to do with legs. It's technically a full leg extension, but instead of doing both of your legs, you kind of just stabilize one leg by holding it all the way out and doing a very, very low weight. It's just kind of getting your knees used to holding that weight, and it kind of helps you feel a little bit better when it comes down to, you know, putting more stress on your back, down to your legs, stuff like that. It just feels a lot better when you do this before any major kind of compound lift or any lift in general. So if you want to learn how to perform progressive overload properly, then definitely learn how to do a pyramid. And like I said, I hope this video kind of helped you learning how to do that, because there was a point where I needed to know how to do this as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Big knots, get a nigga X-Dot. Bitch, I'm rich, I'm tryna fuck on every thought. Bitch, I'm rich, I'm tryna beat your neck out. Savage got the 40 with the red.